Good morning, everyone. So today we're going to look at part two of how Halloween has evolved over the past 3,000 years. So last week we talked about how it started out as a celebration of Samhain night and evolved with the Roman holiday to celebrate Panoma, and to Christianity attempting to combine the pagan beliefs with the religious beliefs. So here's another reference to your world history books. In 1517, Martin Luther, we have here, he posted his thesis on the church doors. And this launched the Protestant Reformation and changed Christianity forever, and also changed Halloween. The Protestants, they discontinued All Saints' Day, which eliminated All Hallows' Eve because of their beliefs. So that was a big change. And the holiday was just too popular to actually be completely eliminated, because once it's deeply seated as it was, it's just not going to stop. Now, in England, on November 5th, 1605, there's a Catholic guy named Guy Fawkes. He tried to blow up the Protestant House of Lords. And let's bring up Guy Fawkes here. He had a whole bunch of gunpowder. There was other people that were involved in it. He's the one that got busted. But he tried to blow it up, and this has evolved because, of course, he was arrested, and it's evolved and continued to be celebrated in Britain as Guy Fawkes Night, and is blended now with Halloween, and they celebrate them together in many ways. One of the things that the children do is they make effigies of Guy Fawkes and they burn him on November 5th. And they also go around begging for pennies for Guy, which is another form of trick-or-treating. So as you can see, things have evolved. We went from having the nuts and fruits for trick-or-treating, giving things, to now begging for pennies. So the Puritans, another thing you learn in your history books here, they moved to the colonies because they wanted to avoid the religious beliefs over in Europe. And they felt that Halloween was too pagan and too Catholic. So they had their own ways of doing things and evolving. And if you recall, again in your history books, the Salem Witch Trials in 1692, there were 20 people that were killed for being witches. 19 of them were hung, and one, his name was Giles Corey, a much older gentleman. I want to say he was in his 70s or 80s. He was actually crushed with rocks. I was actually at the Salem Witch Museum when I was a teenager. It was a very interesting thing, and we went through the House of Seven Gables, which was also there. That was Nathaniel Hawthorne's home, or part of the Hawthorne home, and one of the Hawthornes was one of the judges at the trials. And you may recall in one of your ELA classes that you would have read The Crucible, which was all about the Salem Witch Trials. That was written by Arthur Miller. So I know I taught that several times to classes, and it was a 10th grade reading. So there were other colonies in the Americas that didn't believe as the Puritans. They celebrated Halloween. And Virginia became the birthplace of the American Halloween. They started to have parties, which included bobbing for apples and telling ghost stories. There were also these other divination games that people would do. And one of them was trying to predict the future husband of a woman. And so this young girl would go hang a shirt out on a line, and her future husband would turn the sleeve on it. So another predicting thing there. In the early 1800s, they were having parties with nuts, apples, carving pumpkins, and ghost stories. Again, still doing all this. The Irish, they brought many things to the country when they moved here and started working during the industrial age. That's more in the Victorian era. The Americans adapted them. One of the things that they adapted was carving the jack-o'-lantern, which the pumpkin was much easier to carve than the turnip that they actually used in Ireland. The turnip is a very, very hard gourd, where the pumpkin is much softer. And, carving a scary face into a pumpkin, it was a way the Victorian America tried to tame the holiday and make it fun. So here they show some kids carving. So by the end of the 19th century, evil spirits and evil deeds were almost gone, and the whole family was celebrating the holiday. So it's much different than what it had been in the past. So next time, we're going to cover the 20th century and how that has evolved to what you know today as Halloween.